we are going to first run a copy. We have not messed with any of the equipment. We're going to run a copy of basically what you got last night, which showed 24 and early voting. However, if you still have that copy, there may be a few discrepancies there because after everybody left, and this wasn't because everybody could have stayed till we left, but we had a handful, or maybe I think 24 paper ballots that they voted at Pawpaw while we had an equipment problem. So we had to put those in manually, and nobody stayed around to witness that. So you can see a discrepancy of a vote or two here and there on your, based on the last night's copy and the copy we give you today, the first copy. We have Hart's technician here. He will then clear all the data from the machine. We will run a zero tape showing you that there's no votes in the equipment and no votes cast for any candidate. We will make ever how many copies and issue a copy of that to each person. Then we will start with the paper ballots. We will put in the reader from the e-slate, which we read the ballot card from the e-slate, which we read the absentee ballots on, and then we will run a summary, make everybody a copy. You should see 300 or so many votes there. Then we will put in the first early voting card. We will go alphabetical. It will be Harriman's. We will run another summary. That way you've got two copies, and there's 13 pages in all this. So it takes a while to run them and get them to you. So you'll have to be patient. We will be here for a while. Then we'll put in the third card, which will be, should be Kingston. Run a summary. And we will do this after each card is put in the machine. We'll do all early voting first. Then we'll start with Cave Creek, Cherokee, and Fairview, Emory Heights, Emory, and then right down the list until we get to the card that recorded on Rockwood Ward 2. That'll be the order that we go in. So, and after each card is inserted, you should be able to look at the previous paper we give you, and there should be an increase in the number of votes. Up in the left-hand corner, it tells you how many voters have voted, and then it'll print out the votes for each one of the candidates as you've seen on the other before. But you'll have to be patient, and like I said, it's going to be a long process, and we'll be able to answer any questions.
When you say long, how long do you mean?
We're probably talking an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Has this ever happened before?
No,
Nothing like this has ever happened?
no, we've never had a problem with not reading any cards or missing a card.
And when you say one of the cards wasn't read, what does that mean? That the whole voting precinct didn't get counted, or what is that actually?
Correct. We know that there should be 30 cards, and we know how many, well, we think it's an early voting precinct because we know how many people voted early. We run a tape, or ran a report from the data that they have now. We see a discrepancy in the total number of votes that were cast early and what we have recorded in the data that we presented last night.
Do you know how this happened?
The process we use here is that the election commissioners, once the officers of the election and the judges bring in the ballot, the JBC, which is a ballot counting unit that counts all the ballots, and they bring them in. The commissioners remove the seals, remove the card, and then they pass it over to our deputy clerk, and she scans them into the reader, and then it's recorded into the database. And then the process of from where they took the card out of the machine to getting it to the reader, there was an error that it didn't get to her.
So a person error or a machine error?
Personal. Yes.
Charlie, do you know how many votes are affected approximately?
We think there's somewhere around 1,300.